What is going on, everyone? My name is Joe Ivan, and we are live on 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you all for tuning into The Weekly Cheese, the Pocono's #1 place for everything Green Bay Packer. Just as a reminder, everything you hear on The Weekly Cheese is my opinion, and nothing you hear reflects the views or opinions of 90.3 WESS or East Stroudsburg University. Now let's get into it.
Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll, rock on through that Super Bowl. Ramble, scramble, toss them tees, drive their defense to its knees. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul, Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Who's that QB with that 1-2 punch? Eats DBs with cheese for lunch. Red zone time, them guys be flying. Big butt men be doing some crying. TD from my GB's QB. Let's go. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Rock on through that Super Bowl. Ramble, scramble, toss them tees, drive their defense to its knees. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul, Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Let's rock! Oh, you got it, baby. What's that? Do I love my Green Bay Packers? Oh, baby, you know better than to ask that. Oh, don't feel sad. I'm fond of you too, honey. Who's that QB with that Midas touch? A-Rod here, cool in the clutch. Live this world of green and gold. All you football freaks, behold. Be a Pack fan or eat crow with cheddar. Face the facts, our QB's better. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Rock on through that Super Bowl. Ramble, scramble, toss them tees, drive their defense to its knees. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul, Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul, Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul. Go, Pack, go!
And that was Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll by the one, the only Eddie J. Lemberger, the king of Packers music. And I have to tell everyone that I've been holding that one in my back pocket all season long. I've just been waiting for the day, the Tuesday night, where I'd be able to play Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll for everyone out there listening and all of Packer Nation. And the time is now. The Green Bay Packers just decimated the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football at Lambeau Field in the cold, frozen, snowy tundra. They moved their record to 12-3 overall. They remain at the top of the NFC, and they hold their fate in the palm of their hands. They control their own destiny. They are in a very, very good position right now to lock up that first overall seed next week in Chicago, Week 17 matchup. And that was the game the Green Bay Packers needed. That was the game all of us fans out there we've been waiting for it. That was the performance. I can't even remember another Packer game that was that satisfying to watch. And really, that game and that win is the first complete game this Green Bay Packers team has played all season, if not the past 2 years. Nearly complete game. I don't even want to bring up the special teams conundrum, the blocked field goal that ended up getting called back for a horrible, horrible, non-existent offsides penalty. I wasn't complaining, but the special teams needs to improve. But it's no time to harp on that. The Green Bay Packers had a complete game in every other aspect. They started fast. They got out to the 19-0 lead early in that game. And they were able to overcome the mid-game momentum shift that was inevitably going to occur. It occurs in every football game. It's just the ebbs and flows of the game. And the big question mark about this specific Green Bay Packers squad is, can they play a full two halves of football Last week against Carolina, the Packers got out to a similar early lead, and they ended up letting the Panthers back into the game, and it was way too close for comfort at the end of that. But no, the Packers overcame the mid-game momentum shift, and they finished stronger than they started, closing the game out on a 21-0 run. They finished the game scoring 21-0. This was also the first time, interestingly, I couldn't really believe it when I read it today, but this was the first time in the franchise's entire history that they did not have a single penalty or punt the ball one time. It really was a near-perfect performance by the Green Bay Packers, and it's the type of late-season win that builds confidence, it generates momentum, and it just generates a championship mentality, one that we've seen in short bursts throughout this season. But it was a dominant victory. The Packers faced an extremely tough Tennessee Titans team that all week long we had to hear the chatter about how Derrick Henry was going to run all over the Green Bay Packers with their horrible run defense, and then that's going to open up Tannehill's play-action pass, and he's going to get the ball to A.J. Brown on the outside, and Corey Davis is going to make some plays. And everyone was counting the Packers out before the game even started. All week, people were saying this hoo-ha about Derrick Henry destroying the Packers. And honestly, I was guilty of it last week myself. I was very concerned. But they overcame, and they beat this Titans team handedly. Even though they had a few glaring matchup advantages, the Packers took care of business. They completely dominated in the frigid and cold and snowy frozen tundra, which are conditions that hopefully and most likely they're going to be playing in throughout the NFC playoffs on their road to the Super Bowl this year. And quite frankly, I just felt all day, I know I wasn't the only one. Aaron said he was doing it, but all day at work, I was just checking my phone to see what the weather was like in Green Bay, hoping that we would get a small sample of what this postseason has to come and the true home field advantage that is the frozen tundra. And I was not disappointed. We got not just a small little sample of what it's going to be like. We got a complete display of how it could possibly go. The offense on Sunday was phenomenal. Aaron Rodgers played magnificently. 21 for 25, only 4 incompletions on the entire day, 231 total yards, 4 touchdowns. He finished with a passer rating of 128.1, despite throwing an interception, which obviously he was just forcing a pass. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers has ever forced a pass like that in the past 5-6 seasons, but I understand why he did. I wanted him to force that ball. He was going for 5 touchdowns, all right? I know I predicted him to throw 5 touchdowns against Carolina, but I'll gladly take 4 against Tennessee. And honestly, this has been my opinion for weeks now, and I'm happy to say that it's no longer just my and our opinion as Packer fans, but it's the general consensus that Aaron Rodgers is this year's NFL MVP. His 3rd MVP. I could not be happier that Aaron Rodgers is getting this 3rd MVP award. He deserves it more than anyone in the league. And unless something horrible occurs week 17, I cannot see him losing this MVP race. Over 4,000 yards on the season, a 70% completion percentage. And he leads the NFL in touchdowns. He's got 44. Interceptions, only 5. Total QBR of 84 and a passer rating of 119.4. He's absolutely on fire. It's the exact season that we all expected him to have. And on Sunday, he was able to spread the ball around to 8 different targets. He hit 8 different receivers on the Packers offense, but it was really nothing big. Equanimeous St. Brown caught his first touchdown pass of his career, only pass only catch of the game, a 21-yard touchdown in the first half. And besides that, Lazard caught 2 for 14 yards. Tunyon had 1 for 17. Tavon Austin got involved a little bit again. He had 2 catches for 5 yards. I mean, hell, even Dominique Daphne got involved. He caught his first ever career ball, and he took it for 13 yards and a first down. Big man lowered his shoulders and got the extra couple of yards for that first down. It was awesome. Daphne, out of nowhere, the past couple of weeks, has just been playing an insane amount of snaps. And good for him. Came off the practice squad once Lovett and DeGuara went down with their season-ending injuries, and Daphne's been getting his feet wet here in some really big-time football games. But obviously, the bulk of the offensive percentage came from the historically great and amazing and heart-filling Rodgers-Adams connection. Davante Adams was just unreal again on Sunday. 11 receptions, 142 total yards, 3 touchdowns. Just an absolute sick stat line. Didn't seem fazed by the snow at all. He seemed to have perfect footing out there. And how can he not be the Offensive Player of the Year? Aaron Rodgers gets the MVP award. How can Davante Adams not get the Offensive Player of the Year award? He's played in just 12 and a half games this season, and he has logged 5 games with 10 or more catches, 109 total receptions, 1,328 total receiving yards, and he now leads the entire NFL in both touchdowns with 17 and yards per game. He is averaging 102 yards per game. Just this past Sunday, he joined Chris Carter and Randy Moss as the third wide receiver in the history of football with 17-plus touchdowns and 100-plus receptions in one season. And he is on pace to break Sterling Sharp's single-season franchise records in both touchdowns and receptions, needing just 1 more touchdown to tie and 4 more receptions. It was an absolute masterful performance from Davante Adams. It is something that he has done week in and week out this entire season. And not only is he the best receiver in football, but he deserves the Offensive Player of the Year award. He deserves it. And that's that. Davante Adams is the best receiver in football. And when him and Aaron are going like they were going on Sunday, there's not one team in the league that could stop that offense. Not one. Part of the reason why Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams had such a dominant game in the air was due to the fact that Aaron was only sacked 1 time throughout the entirety of the game, and the offensive line had yet another dominating performance. They had a very unimpressive week against the Carolina Panthers last week, but they bounced back. Luckily, Corey Linsley did get into the lineup. He was activated off the IR just last week, came back, and honestly didn't miss a beat. Missed 4 games and came back fresh and rejuvenated. And he's the trusty anchor of that offensive line. Maybe I just feel bad about the words I said just 4 weeks ago about Corey Linsley faking the injury, but he truly is the best center in the NFL. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him this upcoming year with free agency. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I would like to see him maybe take a team-friendly deal. I doubt that'll happen. A lot to ask. He deserves his money. But with his return, Lucas Patrick obviously did not get the start. They moved Elton Jenkins back to the left guard position, and Billy Turner shifted right back to the right guard. And they left Wagner in there to start at right tackle. The offensive line played great to start the game. That starting unit did not let up 1 sack. It barely let up a pressure. But unfortunately, Rick Wagner ended up getting carted off the field in the second half in what seemed to be a serious injury. He was writhing in pain. And that forced Billy back to the right tackle position. And Lucas Patrick then obviously came in to fill in the right guard position. And although I hope Wagner is all right, and he will be a big contributor in this postseason run, if healthy. He's come in and done a much better job than I expected him to this season. If he's not back, I'm still equally as confident in Lucas Patrick's ability to step in there at right guard and shift Billy over to right tackle. We've seen it all season. Although the Packers' offensive line is one of the best in football, they've had a lot of moving parts all season long. So, just going to be more of the same moving forward. I will say regarding the offensive line that I would like to see John Runyon Jr. get his due respect and maybe just a couple of looks. I don't understand, but his time will come, and shout out to my cousin, ended up getting a John Runyon Jr. jersey for Christmas in the Acme Packer blue and gold, and it is a true one of one. You'd be pressed to find another one of them out there. Very impressive holiday gift. But the big story of the day, although Aaron Rodgers was phenomenal and Devontae Adams had another historic performance, basically, just totally dominated, the real story was in the run game. Obviously, Jamal Williams was still out with that quadricep injury he suffered last week against the Carolina Panthers. So the majority of the work was supposed to be on Aaron Jones. It was going to be Aaron Jones doing his thing, and A.J. Dillon was just going to come in and sort of take the snaps as Aaron Jones needed a break. But what ensued, I don't know if anyone could have predicted coming. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon combined for a total of 234 rushing yards on the day in what was possibly the greatest rushing performance out of any Green Bay Packers team that I've ever watched. Aaron Jones had 10 carries for 94 yards. Thanks to that big 54-yard run, he was able to break to the outside. He did step out of bounds, but luckily Aaron Rodgers' expertise, he was able to get them up quickly and get a snap off before they had a chance to challenge the play. But early in the game, Aaron Jones appeared to get banged up. It was a late hit. I'm sure you all saw it out there. He got incomplete pass to him, and the ball was already hit the ground and rolled a couple feet, and he got tackled. And he seemed to have hurt his lower back or his hip or something like that. And he was out for a lengthy stretch of time there in that first half and only came back for a handful of snaps in the second half. And the main load fell on A.J. Dillon's shoulders. And he broke out. A.J. Dillon absolutely stole the show on Sunday Night Football in the first snowfall game in Lambeau Field this season. Finished the game with 20 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The 6-foot-tall, 247-pound rookie ended up breaking 9 tackles, and he rushed for 5.5 yards after first contact. And he just put on display for everyone a small example of just how dominant that he could be running on the frozen tundra. When the temperature drops to 20, 15, 10, possibly even below 0 in Green Bay, Wisconsin, or in Chicago, week 17, this upcoming week, A.J. Dillon is a tough man to tackle. 6 foot tall, 247 pounds. Rookie running back. And this breakout game by him not only makes the offense for the Packers horrifying moving forward, especially as the playoffs run through Lambeau Field. It really opened the eyes to not only me, but to the Packer fans that I've talked to, and I'm assuming Packer Nation, the entire internet and Packer fan pages are sold on this guy. When the Packers drafted him this past year with the 2nd overall pick, everyone was livid. I was angry. You were angry. He, she, we were angry. But it was really just, there was really no reason to be. This guy, he had a slow start to the year. He was getting acclimated. COVID sidelined him for three and a half weeks. But when the Packers needed him, when it was time for him to be the next man up in a huge game against the Tennessee Titans, he beat Derrick Henry at his own game. He was a complete beast. And it was just encouraging. It was absolutely encouraging. Especially because the harsh reality of the facts at hand are the Green Bay Packers cannot sign both Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. As much as I would love them to, and I know the fan base would love them too, and as much love as us Packer fans have for Jamal and Aaron, and as much as the organization values them, money's tight. This upcoming season, money is tight, and probably for a couple years to come. The Green Bay Packers do not have a whole lot of cap space, and unfortunately, Aaron Jones, he's going to be looking to sign a big contract. And I don't want to get too much into it right now because there is so much to look forward to, and who knows what could shake down. Aaron Jones wins Super Bowl MVP perhaps, and the whole narrative changes. But with a breakout performance like that from A.J. Dillon, the writing is sort of on the wall that one of those two guys simply won't be a Green Bay Packer next year, which is sad. But, man, did A.J. Dillon prove a lot of people wrong this past Sunday, me included. Game ball goes to A.J. Dillon, and I could not be any more excited to see him run all over the Chicago Bears next weekend in a very cold setting, similar to Lambeau Field. Last thing I got to say about the offensive side of the ball. Well, not really. It's the staccato of the week, everyone. The staccato of the week before we go to this first break here. The staccato of the week this week, Malcolm Butler, cornerback for the Tennessee Titans. He picked off Aaron Rodgers, you see. Malcolm Butler picked Aaron Rodgers off. Packers were up 19 points. Aaron was just forcing a ball, trying to keep the drive alive and go down and score his 5th touchdown of the game. And Malcolm Butler was able to get his hands on one. He then proceeded to do the championship belt celebration. Now, although Aaron Rodgers stated today that he did not see him do the championship belt celebration, simply the act of doing the championship belt celebration in an attempt to mock Aaron Rodgers came back to haunt him. On the ensuing drive, Aaron Rodgers threw at him 4 consecutive times in a row and ended up scoring a touchdown. It was a rushing touchdown, but a touchdown nonetheless. Going to go to a quick break here. When we come back, we're chopping up the Green Bay Packers defense from this past week against the Tennessee Titans. The best defensive performance of the season, hands down. And we're going to talk about a surprising player who's been working under the radar over the past 2 months. And if this trend continues, we could be looking at the next great defender in the NFL. Man, destined for NFL superstardom. When we come back, don't go anywhere. 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
Wisconsin highways with Lambeau Field in our eyes. Cars on 43 and trucks on 41. No, we got pack of pride. The beer is ready, so are the brats. Crank up the cheeseheads, baby. The Weber grill is hot. We gonna tailgate to it. Just can't tailgate no more. From Kewanee to Milwaukee, Winnebago to Muskego, everybody's very happy
to pick 'em up down to the local bar. You and I will have a couple of barley pops. We'll cheer on those Packers, baby. We'll cheer on those Packers. Oh yeah, baby, those Packers. Oh yeah.
Fans in Sheboygan, Prairie du Chien. They came from Janesville, man, and from Racine. Look at these Packers, ain't nothing like them nowhere. Military Avenue,
Oneida Street.
Lombardi Avenue, Main Street. We love Green Bay. I love Green Bay. I love Green Bay. I love Green Bay.
Yeah, alright. Come on. My Green Bay Packers, proud and strong. Standing tall above the rest, it's right where we belong. 'Cause we love the feeling of being number one. Pack proud and strong. Green and gold, gifted and bold, our pride showing through all the way. By any test, we give our best with determination, pride, and energy. My Green Bay Pack, it's on to victory. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My Green Bay Packers, proud and strong. Standing tall above the rest, it's right where we belong. 'Cause we love the feeling of being number one. Pack proud and strong. Yeah, alright. Come on. My Green Bay Packers, proud and strong. Standing tall above the rest, it's right where we belong. 'Cause we love the feeling of being number one. Pack proud and strong. Green and gold, gifted and bold, our pride showing through all the way. By any test, we give our best with determination, pride, and energy. My Green Bay Pack, it's on to victory. Yeah, 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 yeah. My Green Bay Packers, proud and strong. Standing tall above the rest, it's right where we belong. 'Cause we love the feeling of being number one. Pack proud and strong.
And we're back. This is the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And those songs you just listened to there were first, I Love Green Bay by the Cheeseheads with Attitude. Just a plain old classic. And Pack Proud and Strong by the one, the only, Eddie J. Lemberger, the king of Packers music. And those songs got me pumped up, but not as pumped up as the Green Bay Packers defense got me this past week against the Tennessee Titans. It was simply the game we were all waiting for. The Packers defense delivered their first complete game of the 2020 season, and it could not have came at a better time in a must-win game against a Super Bowl contender in the AFC. They completely stopped the run, all things considered, and they shut down Tennessee's explosive playmakers that have been wreaking havoc on the league basically all season long. The run defense, again, was amazing. surprising. But what needed to come up, it needed to happen. This was the game where it needed to happen. They stacked the box and they held the NFL's leading rusher, Derrick Henry, to just 98 yards and a measly 4.3 yards per carry. He only broke out 1 yard of 10 or more yards, one run for 10 or more yards. And the Packers simply did not allow themselves to get beaten and humiliated by the run once again. I needed to pinch myself a couple times throughout the game due to how good the Green Bay Packers looked on the defensive side of the ball. And leading the way in terms of stopping Derrick Henry, who obviously is the best running back in the NFL. He is, without question, the best running back in the NFL. The defensive line. Kenny Clark set the tone early and maintained it for the entirety of the game. He finished with 3 tackles, 1 for a loss, and a hit on Ryan Tannehill. But really, his ability to just eat blocks, squeeze up space there on the line, and just hold the point of attack completely changed. It changed the game. It allowed the inside linebackers to hit the gaps clean, and it allowed the outside linebackers to just hold the edge and establish the edge and swarm the football. And ultimately, the things Kenny Clark was doing on the field, although he goes unnoticed most of the time, completely elevates the play of the other guys on the defensive line. I know I say it a lot, but this past weekend, the L brothers, Lancaster and Lowry, had one of their best performances of the entire year. They combined for 5 tackles, and they just did a great job at eating space and not allowing holes to just open up for Derrick Henry in the middle of the field. And honestly, it was Tyler Lancaster's best performance of the season, hands down. Dean Lowry might have had a couple of games here and there. He's a solid guy to have, but Tyler Lancaster completely stepped up, and I credit Kenny Clark for that, for setting the tone. From the first snap to the last snap, Kenny Clark was playing mean. As far as the inside linebackers go, they finally found consistency, it seems. Although they're still not the strongest unit in the NFL by any means of the imagination, and they're obviously still the weakest unit on this Packers team, they're improving. Chris Barnes started his second game in a row wearing the mic as the Packers' primary linebacker, calling the defense. And he really is proving to be the man for the job. Not the ideal man for the job, but out of the tools the Packers have available to them, Chris Barnes is the best option to man the mic. He led the team with 7 tackles, and he really played hard. Noticeable toughness and aggression and energy came from Chris Barnes all game long. And with Chris Barnes taking practically the majority of the snaps, Christian Kirksey has had a lesser role. Obviously, last week he had to come in and fill in major minutes because Barnes left with that supposed eye injury that no one saw. But Christian Kirksey only took 12 snaps. He split snaps with Kamal Martin. But in those 12 plays, Christian Kirksey was as productive as he has been in the past 3 years. He recorded a sack, and he grabbed his second interception of the season. So perhaps fewer snaps is the answer for Christian Kirksey. Maybe he just doesn't have it anymore to play 60 snaps a game and be out there for the entirety of the football game. But in short spurts here and there, perhaps he's the guy for the job. I mean, he had to have been the most productive player in terms of time on the field. 12 snaps is barely anything for him and the amount of time he's been getting all season long. But if he keeps that up, there will be no more complaints regarding Christian Kirksey coming out of me. As far as the pass rush goes, it was very, very solid. Mike Pettin seemed to have schemed up a couple of different blitz packages that we really haven't seen all season long, and it was able to disrupt the Titans' play-action heavy offense. And nearly every single defender for the Green Bay Packers blitzed at least one time this past Sunday. The outside linebackers, for as good as a job they did defending the run, they did a fantastic job rushing the passer. Tannehill only dropped back for 18 passes. They pressured him 13 times. They hit him 5 times, and they finished the game sacking him twice. Zadarius Smith had his 12th and a half sack of this NFL season, which actually allowed him to hit a incentive bonus, and he netted himself an additional $5 million as a result. So, round of applause for Zadarius Smith, and congratulations on the payday, man. Preston Smith, he was able to get after Tannehill a couple of times himself. He laid a big hit on Tannehill in the second half on the ball that was intercepted by Kirksey. He laid the hit, and that ball just came flying out of his hand like a duck. Kirksey was able to grab it, secure it, and turn him over. But ultimately, the man in the offensive linebacker room and the man of that unit is Rashawn Gary. He has shown consistent improvement over the past 5 weeks. I said it about the second half of that Jacksonville Jaguars game, that if Rashawn Gary continues this, the Packers' pass rush is going to be scary, and scary they are. Over the past 5 weeks, Rashawn Gary is truly playing like a 12th overall pick should be. He didn't have nearly as good of a season last year, and he had a slow start to this year. I was questioning him in the beginning of the weekly cheese. I remember the first 3-4 weeks of the season. I was questioning his abilities, his dedication, and more importantly, his ability to stay on the field. He missed so many games. But he's been out there, he's playing hard, and he is a complete game changer on the defensive line. He led the entire defense with 6 quarterback pressures on Sunday. 3 of his pressures forced Tannehill to get rid of the ball fast and allowed the secondary to make plays on the ball, one of which resulted in an interception by Darnell Savage in the second half. And the most impressive thing is Rashawn Gary led the way in terms of stopping the run. On 3 different occasions, he was able to just hold his contain, disengage the blocker, and tackle Derrick Henry for a gain of 3 or less, which is something that the Packers have had difficulty doing all season long. The way Rashawn Gary played on Sunday is not just encouraging, but it's needed. It's absolutely needed. When Rashawn Gary is on the field and he's making plays like that, and he's playing with energy like that, and he's getting after the passer, he just is a difference maker. He allows the Smith brothers to just have their way with the offensive line because he requires so much attention with the way he rushes from the edge. And even though this season he hasn't had the most glamorous numbers in terms of total sacks or anything like that, and he has no flashy statistics for his pass rushing, his value when he rushes a passer is just through the roof. He forces mistakes. Over the past 3 weeks, it's been Rashawn Gary forcing the turnovers. It's been Rashawn Gary collapsing the pocket, allowing other guys to capitalize and come down with sacks. And when he's out there, he elevates the entire play of the defense. I personally feel that Rashawn Gary is the most important defender on the Green Bay Packers team going into this postseason, because when he is on, the defense elevates to a level where, although they might give up first downs and a couple of yards here and there, they ultimately come away with timely turnovers due to the Rashawn Gary's ability to just get after it, rushing the passer. And he's becoming a very, very good player, and he needs to keep his head down and keep it moving because there's still a lot of work to be done. This might have been an amazing defensive performance, but it needs to continue. It cannot be an exception. It needs to be the way the Packers play defense moving forward. On Sunday, the secondary did an amazing job. They limited the Titans' weapons all game long. They held Tannehill to just 121 passing yards. They picked him off 2 times. And more impressively, they defended 10 passes. They were able to break up 10 balls in the air. And it really comes down to one key adjustment that I've seen Mike Pettin make over the past 2 weeks. Darnell Savage has been playing significantly more press man coverage. And Adrian Amos has been lining up as a dime linebacker and kind of in the box to help with the run defense and the intermediate passing game that was cooking the Packers all season long up until this adjustment, really. Adrian Amos continued his strong play. He did a great job lining up and stopping the run. And he finished the game with 5 tackles and a defended pass. Another strong game from the veteran and a guy who obviously raises his play as the stakes get higher. The month of December has been very good to Adrian Amos, and he finished it strong, and I have no doubt he'll be starting January with the same sort of production. Jair Alexander has yet another perfect performance. He pitched another shutout, if you will. He completely shut down Corey Davis, who's been, honestly, one of the league's most productive and consistent wide receivers all season long. And Corey Davis didn't catch one ball all game. He was only targeted twice, no catches, and Jair Alexander was on him like a weighted, heated blanket all game long. He also finished the day with 3 passes defended, which is not a stat you usually see him come away with due to the fact that quarterbacks tend to just not throw his way. But with the way Tannehill was being pressured all game long by the front 7, he was forced to get the ball out of his hands, and Jair Alexander broke up 3 passes, 2 of which were to a big tight end, Jonnu Smith. Alexander was able to get his hand in there, bat away the pass, basically ripping it out of his hands. And one of them came on a late game 4th down attempt in the red zone, which would have resulted in a touchdown. But the storyline of the secondary and the man who has been silently and slowly establishing himself as, if not the best at this point, a top 5 safety in the NFL, and that is Darnell Savage. Over the last 2 months, Darnell Savage has been absolutely electrifying. And on Sunday, he continued his extremely fast rise to stardom. He finished the game with 5 total tackles and 3 passes defended. And honestly, he just seemed to be one step faster than every single player on both teams on Sunday. He was the fastest guy on the field. He was flying around everywhere, wreaking havoc in the secondary. He finished the game with 1 interception, his 4th of December. And he dropped 2 more, one of which would have been a pick 6 late in the game, basically just driving the stake right through Ryan Tannehill's heart. But he dropped it. It was snowing hard. The ball was wet. Whatever it is, he looked up, saw the end zone. Whatever it is, Darnell Savage was a complete menace on the defensive side of the ball on Sunday. He was also able to tackle Derrick Henry 2 times in the rare occasions he was able to get into the Packers secondary, which was surprising because all season long, the Packers secondary, Darnell Savage included, has had a tough time wrapping up and taking guys to the ground. I really, off the top of my head, the secondary as a whole played fantastic and tackled fantastic this whole game. Off the top of my head, I can only remember 1 missed tackle by Kevin King on Derrick Henry. He went high, kind of just fell off his back. But he did a fantastic job wrapping up that behemoth of a running back. And over the last 7 weeks, Darnell Savage is the Pro Football Focus #1 safety in the NFL. When I found this out, I couldn't believe it. I knew he's been playing amazing. I knew he's been on the rise, but I had no idea he was actually graded as the best safety in the NFL. Over the past 7 weeks, Darnell Savage has been targeted 16 times and has allowed only 3 catches for 57 yards and not a single touchdown. Out of those 16 times he was targeted, he has intercepted 4 balls and broken up 9 of the 16 pass attempts. And when quarterbacks are throwing at him over the past 7 weeks, and this is the stat that is just the most astounding. I didn't even know that this number went this low. But over the past 7 weeks, when Darnell Savage is being thrown at by quarterbacks, they are averaging a passer rating of 2.3. Let that sink in. A passer rating of 2.3 when throwing Darnell Savage's way. I honestly had no idea that a passer rating could go below that number. You know, it's really astounding. And what's happening right before our very eyes is that the young duo of Jair Alexander and Darnell Savage is becoming the best corner safety combination in the NFL. They really are. Jair Alexander is a first-team All-Pro this season. And over the past 7 weeks, there's not been one safety better than Darnell Savage. And the eye test supports that. He's been an absolute monster. First round draft pick, second Packers pick of the first round of the 2019 draft. And after being an all-rookie last year and a kind of slow start to this season, Darnell Savage looks comfortable. He looks fast and athletic. And he looks to be a true steal. Perhaps the best safety the Packers have had since Nick Collins. I'll go out there and say right now, Darnell Savage is the best safety the Packers have had since Nick Collins. And alongside Jair Alexander, and then you throw in the veteran Adrian Amos in there, the Packers have the star power in the secondary needed to fuel a championship defense. They really do. The Green Bay Packers defense seems to be coming together. It's been a long season for them. Ups and downs, a lot of downs. This past week, they were dragged miserably through the mud by the media. No respect for them. Obviously, we were all a little scared too because the disrespect was somewhat warranted by the way the Packers have been trying to stop the run all year long. But whatever clicked, I don't know if it's Rashawn Gary. It is Rashawn Gary. It's Darnell Savage. It's Jair Alexander. And it's Mike Pettin showing the ability to make adjustments that have been working. The Green Bay Packers defense looks primed and ready to come to play in the postseason. And if this continues, if this defensive effort and efficiency that was displayed on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans occurs on Sunday against the Bears and throughout the postseason, then the Green Bay Packers will be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy and bringing it back for the first time in a very long 10 years. 10 years. And when we come back, going to take one last quick break here. We're looking ahead to the regular season finale, the 202nd all-time matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, and talking about the big playoff implications that occur in this game for both teams. Don't go anywhere. This is the Weekly Cheese, 90.3, WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. We'll be right back.
You can't beat us Packer fans. Hey, Green Bay, we're flying high again. You can't beat us Packer fans. To be a Packer fan, it means to win. We're proud and loud, yet modestly accept the accolades. of other fans that know the fans of the best team ever made. No, you can't beat us Packer fans. Go Green Bay all the way. If defeat is not in your plans, don't bring your team to Green Bay, no siree. 'Cause we're gonna treat, it's gonna be our pleasure to serve a healthy helping of humility. But if you savor sweet success the best, you're on our side. Come join the fun, be number one, cheer on with Packer pride. No, you can't beat us Packer fans. Go Green Bay all the way. Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da-da-da-ba-da-da. Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da-da-da-ba-da-da. We're proud and loud, yet modestly accept the accolades of other fans that know the fans of the best team ever made. No, you can't beat us Packer fans. Go Green Bay all the way. Please tell your mother. Go Green Bay all the way. Your sister and brother. And dad. Go Green Bay all the way. We're humble and we're loud. Love my Packers. Let's dance. Ba-ba-da-da-da-ba-da-da. Ba-ba-da. Ba-ba-da. Ba-ba-da-da-da-ba-da-da. Hey, Chicago fans would sure look great with cheese heads on their domes. And we invite the Tampa fans to tan in Lambeau 10 below. No, you can't beat us Packer fans. Go Green Bay all the way.
And we're back. 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. This is the Weekly Cheese. And what you just listened to there, folks, was You Can't Beat Us Packer Fans by Eddie J. Lemberger. Yes, the great Eddie J. And I don't know about you guys, but that song just makes me want to wag my finger a little bit. And I love the way it ends. Tell those Chicago fans they look better with a cheese head on their dome, and albeit we're marching into Chicago this coming week. And tell Tampa Bay to come to Lambeau Field in 10 below, and that could very well happen in this NFC playoffs. Week 17 is here. As sad as it is to say, the Green Bay Packers regular season is coming to an end way too fast. The past 17 weeks have flown by quicker than this entire year has. And yeah, Packers, Bears, 202nd all-time meeting between the two teams. And this game has major playoff implications for both teams. The Packers obviously need to win in order to hang on to that first overall seed in the NFC, to not only keep home field advantage and have the entire playoffs run through Green Bay, but to grab that one and only bye, that first ever one and only first round bye that's going to be needed. I mean, the Packers, they had an early bye this year, week 5. It's been a lot of weeks since these guys have had a couple days off, and leaving Chicago with that bye would obviously be the best case scenario, and that's what's going to happen. But the Bears, on the other hand, need to beat the Green Bay Packers just to keep their playoff hopes alive. A win against the Packers does not guarantee the Chicago Bears a spot in the NFC playoffs. They'll need a couple other things to happen, like I believe Arizona to lose to the Rams and all this other stuff. But they need to beat the Green Bay Packers, and have no doubt about it, that Bears team is going to be coming for blood. That defense is mean. They play hard. Khalil Mack is a beast, obviously. And the Bears have been putting up numbers the past couple of weeks, against real bad teams. But although Mitch Trubisky has been getting some praise over the past couple of weeks and putting up big numbers offensively, he obviously is playing with the hopes of falling into yet another unwarranted payday. I truly believe all of that will become will come crashing down on him on Sunday as the Green Bay Packers come to town on a mission. The mission is to leave there kings of the NFC and have an NFC Championship game at home for the very first time in Aaron Rodgers' illustrious Hall of Fame career. And I believe, without a doubt, there's not one little voice in my head telling me that this isn't going to happen. I believe the Green Bay Packers offense is going to come to play. They're going to put up their expected 36 plus. And the defense will carry the momentum that they generated this past week against the Tennessee Titans. Compared to the Tennessee Titans, the Chicago Bears offense is doo-doo. They're absolutely horrible. I believe the Green Bay Packers run defense will contain David Montgomery and the Bears running attack. And they're going to get after Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky has been living in a fairy tale land for the past 3 weeks. And his name, people are saying that he's figured out how to play quarterback again. And people are talking about the Bears giving Trubisky a huge contract. Please do. I hope the Bears give Mitch Trubisky a huge contract. But unfortunately, that is not going to happen because after Sunday, after the Green Bay Packers totally torment Mitchell Trubisky and expose his inadequacies as an NFL quarterback one final time, I genuinely believe he will not receive the big contract that everyone's saying he's going to. Packers win 38-17, mark it, in a dominant fashion, solidifying themselves as the number 1 seed in the NFC and solidifying home field advantage for the very first time. Well, second time in Aaron Rodgers' career, in hopes to deliver him his very first home NFC Championship game. If this past week against the Titans was any indication, home field advantage running through Lambeau Field is going to be a real problem for a lot of these teams in the NFC. The Titans are hands down the best running team in the NFL, and the elements seem to just demoralize them. Usually when it's a snow game, the teams that run the ball the hardest and the best usually end up coming out with the victory due to the fact the snow affects the way the passing games can operate. But just seeing the way the frozen tundra just demoralized the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. If the Green Bay Packers take care of business, when the Green Bay Packers take care of business on Sunday against the Chicago Bears, the Super Bowl run will start, and the Green Bay Packers will be one step closer to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy once again. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Want to wish you guys all Merry Christmas if you celebrated, Happy Holidays, and all a very, very good New Year. Who knows what 2020 will bring? But I can tell you one thing. 2020 will bring a Green Bay Packers Super Bowl championship. Have a great night, everyone. Be safe. And remember, the cheese stands alone. Talk to you next week. Have a good one.
I like my wife, she's okay. And for my kids, I'm thankful almost every day. I like my family, it's so dear to me. But I love the Green Bay Packers. I like my job, I like my friends. I like to drink a couple beers